Hey, it's Lemon. Welcome to the Backlogs. Today, we're going to do something a little different. We're going to play a run that's been completed in the past. Now, for those of you who've been around for a while, you know that I don't like to do challenge runs that have already been done, especially when they're in a video format similar to mine. Standing on the shoulders of giants and calling myself tall just isn't my thing. That said, people kept requesting I do this one, and I can see why. It's good fun. So, without further ado, can you beat Dark Souls 1 with only whips? 4 years ago, A Wild Deathstroke made a single Dark Souls video, just one. But with that single video, he started a meme that continues in the Dark Souls community to this day.
I forgot the doll!
Yep, that was him. And because of him, I and any other Dark Souls players with an internet connection have never forgotten the doll to this day. So kudos to you, Deathstroke. Your pain has been our gain. I'll put his video and the channel links in the description. Now, while Deathstroke has already beaten us to the punch, I still think it's worth seeing if we can complete this run easier than him. After all, I wouldn't be able to call myself that one guy on YouTube who sometimes plays Dark Souls, but also other games too. Please stop pigeonholing me if I didn't. So, without further ado, let's get started.
Shh. Go to sleep, so I can tell everyone else about today's sponsor, Chimera. Chimera is an online clothing company who those of you on the channel might be a bit familiar with by now. They make all sorts of clothing items, and all of their items are high quality, without the accompanying high price tag you'd expect. They've recently increased their stock with a couple new articles, like these fancy joggers. Or if basement gaming isn't for you, why not try out these new shorts they've got? Live somewhere where winter is already reaching out with its cold and clammy fingers? And they've got a sweater for that too. Personally, I'm a big fan of their graphic tees, since the graphics themselves are beautifully drawn and don't have that rubbery feeling you normally get with other brands. And besides, where else can you see an anglerfish with the most alluring bait of all? They must be watching a Backlogs video. Or a cute kitten compilation, if we're being honest. If you need to increase your wardrobe without decreasing your wallet, head on over to their website. Link in the description and pinned comment. Oh, and don't forget to use promo code BACKLOGS to get 10% off your order. It also tells them I sent you, and lets them know you enjoy watching Lemon suffering. Speaking of, that's probably long enough. Go on, Lemon. Do your thing. Lemon?
I make my character and call him SPS. What's that stand for? Oh, you'll see. There we are. SPS ready for action. Now, obviously, no class actually starts with whips, so I added in the worst possible one. It's better than just punching the Asylum Demon to death again, and besides, it creates a great baseline. As you can see, our damage is not great. The strong attack does a bit more damage, but not by much. And the animation is slow. I don't think we'll be using that much. There we are, Asylum Demon down. Moving right along. We arrive in Firelink Shrine and immediately spend our points. I decided to put my levels into getting one attunement slot, which we'll need later, and a little more dexterity, which we'll need forever. Afterwards, I unlocked the back door to Blighttown with the master key, somehow managed to get both poison and toxic almost immediately, then climbed my way back into Blighttown with absolutely no close calls whatsoever. Yep, not a single one. But now that we've got our whip legitimately, we can start this run in earnest. Come on, buddy, we can draw our name with sparklers later. Against regular enemies, the whip is fine. It takes more than one hit, but at least the range and the fact that my attacks can't be parried is nice. No plunging attacks though, and it looks like the animation is very height specific. Ah well, we'll take what we can get. On to the Taurus Demon. Ew, that's some bad damage. It takes a long time, and I made far more mistakes than I would have liked since I'm still getting used to the whip's moveset, but eventually, Taurus goes down. Now, some of you are probably still wondering, what the actual hell does SPS stand for? And in order to show you, I'm gonna have to do something unfortunate. I'm sorry. Look, Solaire, you have to believe me. It's for the best. If anything, I'm doing you a favor. Here, I'll even help you find your own sun. It's right here, in the form of Dragonfire. R.I.P., son bro. Even in death, you were gloriously incandescent. But there's no time to mourn. It's time for Sexy Solaire! If you only knew how much hate I got for this little joke. Seriously, can someone get Bonfireside chat on the phone? They owe me at this point. But with our whip upgraded at timer 3 and our sexiness at 11, it's time to take on the gargoyles. And all things considered, things aren't so bad. I mean, don't get me wrong, I would kill for some better damage, and will as the run goes on. But at the very least, this is manageable. There we are, 2 gargoyles, whipped and low fat. just the way we like it. One bell down, one more to go. The party continues. After a short stop at the Undead Merchant, it's time to make this build actually strong. That's right, it's magic time, baby! For the low price of 3,000 souls and 10 intelligence, you can boost pretty much any garbage weapon into the stratosphere damage-wise. For example, 76 damage without a buff, 125 with. That's quite literally double damage. Time to go show some people our new trick. Hey Lautrec, look what I got now. This run is really starting to whip into shit. Don't you run away from my terrible jokes! Anyway, a quick stop for the Grass Crest Shield later, and we're back in the lower Undead Burg. Honestly, it's not so bad. The fact that the thieves aren't able to parry my attacks this go around means I can just attack with Abandon. Speaking of attacking with Abandon, it's time for the Capra Demon. With our magical whip, the dogs go down in a single hit, and thanks to our large pecs and assless chaps, we can tank through their bites and get them out of the fight. After that, it's a simple matter of wearing down Capra. As easily said as it is done. First try. You don't see that every day. With my whip finally at +5, we're ready to push on to the next boss. I make a new friend, grab the large ember, pretend to be a lion tamer for a bit, then finally make my way to the Gaping Dragon. Okay, time out. Who made this hitbox? Seriously, why is it perfect while the Gaping Dragon can sneeze across the room and hit me? I want names! As you can see, even with a +5 whip and magic weapon buff, we're still not doing a whole lot of damage. I've seen worse, but yeah, not great. But hey, at least we learned that whips can still cut off tails. So that's neat, I guess. It takes 2 tries and a lot of patience, but eventually the Gaping Dragon goes down. A few levels pumped into attunement, dexterity, and intelligence, and we're back to our good friend Blighttown. Yay. A licorice whip or 2 later, and we've now got power within. And yes, that does in fact stack with magic weapon. Now to just use it against Quelaag so we can—
I forgot the glove!
Well, that's unfortunate. Maybe lightning does more damage than magic does? Nope. Ah well, you win some, you lose some. But there's only room in this playthrough for one shirtless person, so yeah. Take your lumps and get out of here! 2 bells rung. Disneyland awaits. But before we go there, we can't let Deathstroke's suffering go to waste. Time to go get us a doll. I head into battle with the Stray Demon with basically nothing more than my optimism and undying patience. And yeah, we probably should have waited. It took all of my magic weapon casts and more than 5 minutes of constant whipping, but we did it. Probably should have waited until after the Painted World to fight him, what with him being weak to bleed and all.
I got the doll!
Oh, and my Pyroglove. Finally remembered to grab that too. Into Sen's House of Tedium, where everything has too much health and takes upward of 5 minutes each to kill. At least the Iron Golem won't be so bad.
Oh, no!
Well, the good news is that we can knock him off the bridge if we do enough damage to his heals. The bad news is that even with power within and magic weapon on, I'm doing at most 50 damage. Definitely doable, but not easily. Oh, come on!
Put me down, you oaf! This isn't sexy! This isn't sexy at all!
It took a few tries, but eventually I convinced the golem that there's an even sexier party at the bottom of the ravine. He takes the bait. And after a little help from a painting guardian, it's finally time to upgrade our arsenal. We'll start with a little great magic weapon. Deeper blue means deeper damage. And after admiring some artwork like a true scholar, we're finally here. Time to get our weapon of choice. There he is, the party god himself. With that spiked whip, flame whip incantation, and chiseled abs, this man is everything I hope to be. And despite all odds, Jeremiah accepts our offering and confirms that we are, in fact, the next sexy party lord. Thank you, Big J. May your head wrap forever be phallic. Anyway, time to get out of here. Ms. Lady? In all honesty, we're at a really good point with this build. We've got the strongest buff I'm probably going to go out of my way to get this run, because let's face it, Logan's questline sucks. And once I can get some bleed damage on top of that, we're golden. Oh, and I can fast roll, because fast rolling is best rolling. You may not like it, but this is what peak performance looks like. After heading back to Andre and upgrading my notched whip to +10, it's time to see what we're working with. So I have some questions. So, it turns out, the notched whip really isn't that much better than a regular whip. The only thing putting it ahead is the bleed damage, and if an enemy is resistant to that, well, there you go. Also, where's Solaire? I feel like we haven't seen him in a while. Oh, yeah. Sad feelings aside, it's time to deal with these knuckleheads. God, I hope one of them takes bleed damage. Well, it isn't Smo. The damage is pretty significant, so I'm not complaining much. God, I hate this boss. I hate them so much! Okay, looks like Ornstein doesn't really bow to bleed damage either. Great, just a normal whip fight then. This should go well for me. Wait a minute, Wait a minute, that was bleed. It does exist. Guess I just wasn't applying enough damage fast enough for it to proc, which makes sense. This fight is constantly pushing you onto the defensive. I can't say I'm that surprised. It takes multiple tries, but eventually Smo goes down. Finally, now we can be hyper aggressive.
Wait, stop! My sexy abs!
Well, with great magic weapon on and my aggression through the roof, I'm guessing this fight will— oh god, not again! But yeah, this fight isn't too bad if you actually avoid getting stabbed. And after using all of my Estus and most of my humanities, Ornstein goes down. The sexy party lives on. Sexy Party Solaire finds a new sun to worship, even though it's just as intangible as the first. Then uses his newfound ability to warp to go give some ghosts a good time, which they appreciated. But no, the real reason we're here is to get a very large ember for our whip. What? You thought I'd make a sex joke here? Low-hanging fruit is beneath Sexy Party Solaire. You dare sully his name? Some tense dark graith grinding, and a very large ember later, and we've got ourselves everything we need for a plus 15 notched whip. Time to go test it out on Sif. Wait, did I skip the butterfly? Oh, by Fletchy I did. Alright, hold up, won't take but a minute. There we are, all done. Only took a single cycle too. Anyway, back to what we were doing. Time for Sif. Good pupper. Not a whole lot to see here. I keep my whip one-handed so it's more likely to hit Sif's belly, and without even using a magic buff, Sif goes down easily on the first try. Before we push on, I almost forgot to place the Lord Vessel. That would have been awkward. Come on, Framped, no sleeping at a Sexy Solaire Party. You can sleep when you're dead.
No, I'm well and wide awake.
There we are. Punch Bowl was running a little low. Had to make a run to Sun's Quick Stop to get a refill. It's not a party unless you've got some of Solaire's famous Estus soup on hand. For those of you wondering, it's simple to make. Just mix 12 bottles of Everclear with a single drop of Sunny D. You'll know you've got it right when your Punch Bowl explodes with the power of the sun. Anyway, time to get some Lord Souls. I clear out Pinwheel with ease, then ignore his mask drop, because Sexy Party Solaire needs no mask. He has all the helmet he needs. Alright, fine, let's see what it is. Mom? Right, first Lord of the day. Come on, Nito, let's see what you got. Well, the skeleton mobs aren't going to be a problem this time around, so that's good. And while Nito himself is a little hard to reach at times, he's taking plenty of damage this go around as well. A short while later, and that's that. First try Nito, let's go. I swear, this boss used to be harder. On to Gwendolyn. This should be pretty easy. Yep, no issues here. It takes all of 5 cycles to decimate their health bar to 0. Moving on. Man, what happened? I swear, we were struggling up to this point. But now everyone's going down in a few hits. I'm honestly not sure where the power spike happened. I don't have a whole lot more to say. The build is done. Now it's just a matter of beating the game. Oh god. Oh god. Please, base god! So with that in mind, ladies and gentlemen, raise your drink of choice. It's time for the endgame.
Very good.
And that's it. That's everyone gathered up for the party. Guess the soup is ready, and the party gods have accepted our offering. Time for one last push. You know, I was worried initially. Whips have never been my favorite weapon type, and the brief encounter I had with them in each game never really instilled any confidence in their ability. But maybe I was wrong. Maybe they do have a place in this series. Anyway, time to give it our all one last time. So, I'm seeing some issues. The damage is nice, so no complaints there, but the fact that I can't seem to get a hit in without getting one in return is definitely going to be a problem. And there's no way I'm changing my armor to fight against Gwyn's damage. I've suffered too greatly at the hands of chat for me to forego this joke in the final stretch. So we're gonna need a different strategy. Time to break out the off-brand Pegpa. A little strategy that I like to call poor man's parry. Basically, much like the Pegpa, the whole point is to successfully and consistently lure out an attack that can be easily parried. For the poor man's parry, we just back it up and wait for that little jumping attack Gwyn is so fond of. This method does two things. One, it keeps Gwyn at a nice range, which means less dodging and less chip damage. And two, it gives you ample time to recognize an attack is coming, mentally prepare yourself, and press the parry button. Now, it's not 100% consistent. There's obviously some user error that has to be accounted for, but it's called the poor man's parry for a reason. And when you're working with limited windows of opportunity, every attack you can eke out is important. Holy shit, that's gotta be the one and only time I've ever dodged with a back hop. Carl, tell me you got that on camera. Did you see that? It took several attempts, and about an hour of trial and error working out the kinks. But eventually, Gwyn goes down. And that's it. Dark Souls 1 beaten with nothing but whips. Here's hoping you had a good time. I know I did. Thanks again to A Wild Deathstroke for the initial concept, and for all of you for encouraging me to give it a try. I feel like I learned something today. Couldn't tell you what, but something for sure. Feel free to press all the YouTube buttons if you're feeling spicy and want to help the channel out. And if you want some shorter, easier to digest content after all that partying we just did, you can find that sort of thing over on my second channel, Shortcut Unlocked. I'll throw a link in the description for those of you who don't like typing. Other than that, that's all I've got. Take care of yourselves, be good to one another, and I'll see you all again soon.